Coinbase just had their event, yo, and I ain't gonna lie, they might be onto something, man. Brick by brick, we're just gonna talk about the crypto market real quick. We'll talk about Coinbase. We're gonna talk about JP Morgan a little bit, some stable coins, prediction markets, what's going on with that. We're gonna take a look at a little bit at the charts, look at little bit at Bitcoin. Man, we're definitely in a bear market, in my opinion. I'm gonna show you why before I get to the Coinbase. So let's take a look at that. And before I even go forward with any of this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Anything I do and say is just what I'm talking about. Do not follow what I say. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything's going to zero. I'm a generate. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Anyway, but I also want to give you some news because I think that this is interesting and I think you should be following this information. So first and foremost, let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's price action is not been good. So we're at 88,000. But you know what? Like I've been doing, I think even since we first started this podcast, like Bitcoin was, I think I'd have to go back and look, 40s or 60s, 70s, maybe 80s actually. On the year, we haven't really done very well in Bitcoin actually. Gold's been running, Nvidia ran this year. Silver's actually having a great year. So, I mean, you've had all these things happen in Bitcoin. While it's hit all-time highs, a lot of people think the bull market's over. Is it over? I don't know. I'm not short term, so it really doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. I know where this is headed. I looked at Bitcoin at $15,000. I looked at Bitcoin at $8,000. So I already know where this is headed. So I'm not worried about the short term, whether it's a bull market, whether we're in a 4-year cycle or not. It honestly doesn't. I'm not concerned about that. A dollar cost average, and I just keep it pushing. Also, what I do is I buy certain things. I buy with the Coinbase card, and I earn Bitcoin that way as well. So there's different ways you can earn your Bitcoin. I do think that if you are a crypto person, or if you're someone looking to get into crypto, I would personally stick with Bitcoin. If you're just just starting, you'll get down the risk curve as you get into this and you start learning a little bit more. But I mean, you can look at Bitcoin in 23. Let's see, let's go all the way back to like 21. So in 20, it had a massive run up, at the end of 2020. And then that also went into the fabled bull run of 21. And then we came back down into the bear market, as you can see here. And then we went up. And then we're going into this bull market, actually, that started in 22 as the lows in December of 22. And ever since then, we've just been kind of grinding up, the next year, headed from 22, all of 23, had some sideways action a little bit there, but then at the end of 23, it just kind of exploded. And I remember in January, around this time, this was meme coin on Solana season in early 24. And then we went sideways, chop, chop, chop. And this is the weekly, I believe. Yeah, this is the weekly chart. So, and then we went up to, you look at us in the election. So the election came around, and that, I remember, I'll never forget that night, the election night, we just skyrocketed in hopes of Trump. Folks in crypto, at least, were hoping Trump was going to save them. And so far that hasn't happened. But anyway, when you look at this, there's a lot going on here. So let's zoom in a little bit. So we look at the charts a little bit now. You can see here, we now have just retraced. So we lost any gains that we had from this. We haven't lost. If you bought around here, great. If you bought down here, you're doing all right. But if you bought all of 2023, but we sold off. When was this? This was, let me zoom out just a little bit so I can see the date, the year. This was 25. So 2025, April tariffs. So that was a Trump caused situation there. And actually, let's talk about what happened over here as well. So this was around the time, December, late November, December, when Trump dropped his meme coin. And it liquidated, the market, it liquidated all the money out of the market at that time, in my opinion. It sucked all the money over to that meme coin. And then the Melania coin dropped right after that. And I felt like we were getting ready to have a pretty massive bull run. It was really very bullish at this point in time. He drops the coin, and it just, I don't know, man. I everything that he does, in my opinion, is not good. But I'm not biased at all. I'm just going off of what my experience has been. That's just my feeling. You can feel however you want to feel. Dude's an imbecile, but like you can see here, we started then getting liquidated in January, and then the April tariffs come around, and this is March actually. Was that March or April? April was a down, terrible year, or terrible month. But anyway, so we are going down, and then towards the middle of April, we start going back up. Those are priced in. Talk about tariffs and all that stuff. It was just part of the deal at that point in time. And in real estate, actually, we had a really dry month in April. The market starts recovering, and we start working our way back up. We're thinking, bull run's coming. October 10th comes around. We hit an all-time high. I remember it was a Saturday, I believe. We hit an all-time high, 126. So hit an all-time high, and then we liquidate right after that. Liquidate, like one of the biggest liquidations in the history. I think it was 19 billion. And then we recovered just a little bit up to 115, and then we've just been down ever since. Q4, on here, I thought we were going to be bullish going into Q4. Obviously I was super bullish. I came on here and I was just like, yeah, I'm really bullish. I'm still bullish on the space. I'm still bullish on everything that's happening, actually. I just think that let's look at the returns. So, and you can't blame people for being bullish. Here, let's look at this. So when you look at the returns, you can't necessarily blame people for it, because like the averages for Q4, this is the average and the median, top being the average, lower being the median. Average is all positive. Average is all positive except for December, or median is all positive except for December, which has a negative 2.5% median for Q4 in December. So what do you want us to think? Like, that's the average and the median are all positive. So going into this Q4, we're thinking, all right, this is going to be a great time. We have all this bullish news. We got institutions buying. We have ETFs happening, all the blah, blah, blah. That's not been the case. It's been 3 red months in a row. Could have been 5. Last time we've had that was in 2018 when we had a 3-month Q4, red Q4. And that's actually only happened one other time in 2018. So this is the second time ever in Bitcoin's history we've had a 3-month red Q4, and that's pretty big deal. But what I will say on the other side of this is, let's go to, so that was 2018. What happened in 2019? We have a January that was red. Now, obviously, the context is different. There's not I'm not comparing 2018 to 2019 to now, because what's happening in terms of news and things, which we'll go over a couple in a sec, is not the same. The context is much different, but it's still just fun to look at. So you can see here, let's take a look actually from 2019 on. The first 3 months of Q1 have typically been bullish. So, I mean, can we get a green January? Let's just start there. Can we even just get a green January? Well, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 of the last 5 of the last 6 Januaries were green. So, that's kind of good. 4 of the last 6 Februaries were green, and 4 of the last 6 Marches were green. So will we have a bullish Q1? I don't know, but let's hope. We can hope. Hopium. And there's a bunch of different stuff that I've been looking at that tells me why I do have some hopium. JP Morgan's tokenized dollars are quietly rewiring how Wall Street moves money. So JP Morgan and Coinbase are working together. The moves from private chain to Coinbase's base layer is driven by demand from institutions. JP Morgan's embracing crypto. But for the recent arrival of bank tokenized deposits on Coinbase's layer 2 blockchain base is evidence that the world's biggest banks are ultimately heading towards exotic realms like decentralized finance. So again, I've said on here before that JP Morgan has been actually working with they've had their own blockchain, I think, belief since 2019. They've been just testing it and working it out. And now they're getting ready to work with Coinbase as well to tokenize stable coins as well and tokenize everything else based on what I heard in the event. So this is just an article that talks about JP Morgan and the stable coins and what they're doing there. Coinbase. So going back to Coinbase, Coinbase had an event this week and Brian Armstrong basically, pushed into stock trading. So they're going to offer stocks. They're going to offer event contracts. They're going to offer shorts and longs. They're going to offer AI agents. They're going to offer Base. Base went live. The Base app went live. Basically, like they're becoming the everything platform. And for Coinbase folks, if you are a Coinbase person or you're bullish on Base, I think that this is super bullish. There's going to be a lot of liquidity flying into this platform. So I don't know, take a look at it. And I think that Coinbase is going into, stocks because you see Robinhood coming into crypto and they offer stocks as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. The other thing that they have going on is prediction markets, which, I mean, Polymarket's been going crazy this run. And could prediction markets be what brings retail into crypto for this bull run? I think there's a possibility for that. Degenerate activity, but you know what? It is what it is. People like it. Tokenized stocks as well. So, there's just going to be, they want to tokenize pretty much everything. They also, at the event, talked about an AI agent that helps people trade. So I thought that was interesting. And, I just don't know where things are going to head, but that's just a quick little overview of what I've been looking at. And, I've looked at a lot of other things as well. Oh, here's one last one. Look at DraftKings. Where's this at? DraftKings. So DraftKings enters prediction markets with a CFTC approved app for real world events. I think this is going to go crazy. I don't know if are they going to be using crypto? Oh, the move puts in directly with crypto native prediction market like Polymarket, Coliseum, Robinhood. Yeah. So you know what? Now that I'm sitting here and looking at this, I really do think that prediction markets could be the onboard for retail. I don't know. That's a hot take. There's other things going on like Ethereum ETFs, ETH ETFs. Tom Lee is still super bullish on that. There's other things going on, but I'll catch those up. I'll catch up on those later. But just looking at the charts, I mean, when you look at Bitcoin again, where can we go? I mean, can we go lower? Possibly, but the RSI, we are not super oversold on the weekly. We're about 36. So, we're about as low as we've been. I mean, this was in December 22. We're about as low as we've been in the last bear market. So I believe we are in the bear market. Could we be down here for a while, just like you see here on the RSI on the weekly? Down here, May, June of 22, we didn't get back out until December in terms of the sell-off. And that began, once we got out of there, that began the next, and this is just for the weekly. But if you look at the RSI here, like we're at, not exactly there. I mean, we're at 34 and it's a little bit lower, but we're at 36 on the weekly. That's pretty interesting. Will we chop here and just stay there? But I think that's super bullish if your RSI is still at the bear lows and we're at 88,000, could we go down to this little support level of 67, 60, 70? Yeah, sure. 70, 80. Yeah, I mean, we could. But look at when we were here, we were down in the 20s. Like, I don't know. When I look at this, I just like the dollar cost average. I think that we're going higher from here. At what point in time, I don't know, but I do think that we are going higher from here. I'm not in any rush. Most people maybe think the 4-year cycle is still in play, or the 4-year cycle is over. There's other people that think the 4-year cycle is crushed from this move in this bull run because of the institutions and because of the liquidity, and the liquidity is driving this run, which I believe is the case, but I could be wrong as well. So The monthly RSI, we're at 53. It says here weekly 24-hour RSI, we're at 44. So yeah, we're not necessarily like really killing it right now in the crypto market. It is a nasty time. Like it does feel nasty. I've been in the crypto market since early 21. So what, 4 years? Going on, damn, that goes fast. Fear and greed. This is the one I like to look at, as we've looked at on here before. So the fear and greed, look where we're at. We were bottomed out, just not too long ago, last month. And now we're up in the 20s and we retested. We're going back, potentially back down to extreme greed or extreme fear. Sorry. But like this is the time when you actually should be buying. If you're going to buy a crypto asset, this is the time to buy it. Dollar cost average it. Just Bitcoin, not anything else, unless you're a degenerate. But like I think just buy and hold and dollar cost average. Don't spend too much. Do not full port anything. Just kind of play it cool until you see what happens. The Clarity Act has been pushed back. I don't believe they're going to be back in office until January. So that I believe is going to happen they're saying it's going to happen in January. It's supposed to happen in October. So who knows? But that, I think the Clarity Act will be a great start in terms of where we're headed. Until then, I don't know where we're going. There's a lot of manipulation happening in the markets. Just been an interesting time. So stay cool. You know what I mean? DCA, I'm long term. You should be long term. Unless you're making a quick buck, then yeah, we could talk about altcoins and things that you want to do, but follow the narratives. Right now, the narrative is AI agents, virtuals. I think AI in general is a just overall narrative. That's why I say that. Prediction markets, obviously, just talked about that. The other one, oh God, what was it? DeFi, I think, obviously will be a good one based on what JP Morgan just said. I mean, that's JP Morgan. Damn. That's all I'm going to give you, man. I'm starting to ramble too long. I can talk about this stuff all day. Anyway, y'all be good. Brick by brick. It's 2025. We'll talk about if there's something else that crazy that happens in the market. I might just get on here and talk real quick a little bit. But until then, man, y'all be good, man. Coinbase is killing it right now. I ain't gonna lie. Coinbase is killing it. I still am bullish on the base. So be good though. And I'll keep you updated. All right. Y'all be good. And subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. That'll be good. All right. Peace. Brick by brick.